Hey, hi, just watched The Hunger Games. It's like 2 o'clock right now. I got work at 4 o'clock. I was going to see them with my friends, but they were going to Cardiff at 1 o'clock to see it, but of course I'm working at 4 o'clock, so obviously it's not a good idea if I go to Cardiff to see it. So I saw it earlier on today in the cinema, and I was expecting it to be packed because like it is a the books are really popular, and it made a lot of money, I think, on the opening like day or night or whatever you call it. It made a lot of money apparently, and so I was like, okay, we gotta book the tickets. Because I had no one to go with except for my mum, so I just went with her. And I was like, no, we gotta book the tickets. It's a popular film. It's Saturday. It's just one day after it's been released. So we booked the tickets. We got there, and it wasn't packed actually. Like we went on a Saturday at 11 o'clock. So I was kind of surprised that it wasn't. Like I was expecting it to be really packed, but. Well, there was like a fair amount of people there, but it wasn't packed. There was like 30 people in the theatre, well, cinema, for UK is. Anyway, so this is like, you know how everyone, like the Saw fans, they have to deal with people constantly criticising Saw and saying it's a rip-off of Dr. Phibes, I think that's how you pronounce it. Like the one scenario at the end of the first Dr. Phibes is pretty similar to the traps of the Saw series, let's say. And the other film, everyone always, well, not always, but some people compare it to Cube as well, and I don't understand that comparison. Saw is nothing like Cube, but like none of the three Cube films are anything like Saw. Like, yeah, like traps. You're just saying, so you're saying that just because like a trap, something's triggered to kill someone, you're saying just because a film has one of those, it's automatically inspired. So like, what are you talking about? Like, if anything, that means that Cube is a rip-off of Dr. Phibes. That just makes no sense. Really grinds my gears when people make that comparison, but I do understand Dr. Phibes. But anyway, you probably know where I'm going with this. The Hunger Games. Oh yeah, and another thing, I bought the books, all three of them, in Cardiff on Thursday as well. I wasn't planning on, I just went to Cardiff in HMV, and I just saw the books on the shelf, like £5 each. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll buy them, whatever. I read like the first 16 chapters, so I haven't read all of the book. I read the first 16 chapters of the first book, then I saw the movie, and obviously I'll read the rest of the book later. And what was I saying? Yeah, so you can probably tell where I'm going with this. You know, The Hunger Games is pretty much Battle Royale, and like I was kind of agitated by that fact that like I was expecting to really hate this movie, or at least like I just kind of felt like I didn't want to like the movie because it was, you know, it is pretty much a rip-off of Battle Royale. I'm aware Battle Royale, by the way, for those of you who don't know, the film and the book of Battle Royale came out way before the books of The Hunger Games. Maybe not way before, like a few years before. But yeah, Battle Royale did come first, for those of you who don't know. And like, you know, the fact that it was kind of like a rip-off, it kind of pissed me off, and it kind of made me not want to like it, but I did end up liking the movie, so it didn't really affect me that much. I did like the movie though. You know, it had a lot of it had some problems though. I'll get into them later. Okay, so for those of you who don't know the story of this, basically it's set in the future. Like, I'm not sure if it was the world or just like America. I don't know. They didn't actually say this in the film. I'm not sure if it's the whole entire world or whatever. But basically, the government is like police. It's like really intensely policing the world or like a country now. It doesn't make it clear if it's the whole entire planet or not. But basically the government, they're kind of like strict. They've got like full control over everything. They've split up like the world or just like a country into 12 districts. So there's 12 districts with their own like communities, like a couple, well in the books there's like a couple thousand people in each district. In the movie it just seemed like a couple hundred. Anyway, so you have 12 districts, people live there. Like, everyone's on the brink of starvation, they gotta bend the rules, you know, go hunting. Like, the book explains it better than the movie, obviously. But basically, the government have, like, an annual game. So, if you've seen Battle Royale, it's the exact same plot, pretty much. There's an annual game where the government randomly select a bunch of people to participate in the game. The game's called The Hunger Games. So the government randomly select once a year a bunch of people to play the game, and the game is they fight to the death. So they put them in like some huge arena which spans over a couple of miles of land, and they just basically fight to the death. The last one alive wins. And Battle Royale is the same. So basically this movie is Battle Royale without the exploding collars. and you know, it's more kid friendly. This film is like a teen version of Battle Royale, or like even a kids version. I'd even go as far as to say a kids version of Battle Royale. I'll get to that later. But yeah, so there we go. It's just, there we go. Bunch of people, bunch of kids, teenagers, and kids actually, are forced to fight each other to the death in an arena by the government, and this is like an annual contest thing. And yeah, that's basically the story. So it's like a fight to the death thing. A bunch of people are forced to fight to the death, and it's run by the government. This like event, which is it's like broadcasted across the world as well. Okay, so there's the story. Now I guess I can get into my thoughts about the film. I will say the second half was definitely a letdown. The second half is like when the game begins, when you know everyone starts fighting and what's not. Everyone starts fighting to the death when the game actually begins. So the first half of the film is like a build-up, a huge build-up to, you know, them getting like the people getting selected to play the game, them having their interviews and stuff like that. That stuff was great. The first half was so much better than the second half. Like the second half was really anticlimactic with the game. Like the build-up was brilliant, but the second part of the film where the actual game begins was nowhere near as entertaining or as fun to watch or as interesting as the first part. Like the second half was a big letdown. I was expecting a lot more from the second half, but no. Like I didn't really care for the romance story either. I just like I'm not a fan of romances in films anyway. Like I just don't care for the most part. And so you know, kind of like the romance between the two characters, I just didn't care. But the first half was so much better. Like the build up was really effective. So they did a good job with that. They actually did kind of like get across the feeling of like dread, and I'm not sure what words to use, but like you did feel like there was like the atmosphere was really well done in the first half. Like right before the game begins, she's got to like walk into this like elevator thing. It kind of like lifts her up into the arena where everyone else is going to be, obviously. And so she, you know, you have like a countdown. There's going like 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 10 seconds, and she's got to get into the elevator to be boosted up into the arena. That was great. Like that was a great build-up, and you know, the directing and everything was great, and the acting throughout the whole entire film was great as well. So when they finally get into the elevator, she gets into the elevator, gets raised up into the arena, and then she's kind of standing there, like everyone's put like in a semicircle on their podiums. Everyone comes out on an elevator, and they're all just standing there like in a semicircle shape, and they can't do anything. Like they can't start killing each other yet. They gotta wait like 60 seconds. Like there's a guy doing 60, 59, 58, 57. Like he's doing a countdown throughout the whole entire thing, and only when the countdown expires can they actually begin fighting, and everyone can leave the podium and start fighting and killing each other. That build up was great, just waiting for the 60-second timer to expire. I think they did that great. Like the directing and everything was great. The acting, the atmosphere, you know, just how they cut to every single district. I just thought that was really well done. Like there was like a sense, like it didn't make me feel uneasy. Like it was a sense of dread, like the suspense. It was just really good when they're all waiting for the timer to expire so they can start killing each other. You know, all that was great. Yeah. So next point. Okay, I'm already like halfway through my points. Okay, so Caesar. When I read the books, so the Caesar character, he was really fun. He doesn't appear a lot in the film. He appears every now and again. He's like a side character, but he was fun to watch. I think they kind of portrayed him well. Like they chose the actor. They did a wise choice with the casting decision. The guy who plays Caesar was great. For those of you who don't know, he's kind of like the interviewer. He's like a behind the scenes kind of guy. He's some sort of public figure, like a celebrity, and he's just basically really charismatic. And he's just fun to watch. And another character I really liked was the guy who won the games before. He was fun to watch. He's kind of like a drunk. He's like, you know, he's like an alcoholic. Like the books obviously explain all the characters a lot better in the books, so you might not really get this as well when you watch the movie. But he was fun to watch. The mentor, you know, the survivor of the games. And I'll get to that point later because it's spoiler worthy. But here's my main problem with the film. It's just the fact that it's a teen version of Battle Royale. It's a kid's version of Battle Royale. In terms of like, well, it's like I wouldn't say it's a kid's version of Battle Royale. Maybe that's too strong. But I'm saying the lack of gore kind of pissed me off. Yeah, like, you get people getting like hacked up with like knives and machetes and whatnot, getting ripped apart by animals. Stung to death. Oh, okay, getting into spoilers there. Okay, but basically when people die, they just never show it. There's no blood, no gore. You get a little bit of blood or go, but like not much, like a tiny bit of blood and that's it. And that just really pissed me off. Like the film could have been a lot more impactful and effective, I think. Like I'm not just saying like, oh, if a film doesn't have gore it's bad, like nothing like that. Like gore is fun, like you know, everyone likes gore, well most people do. Like it's just fun to watch people getting cut up and stuff, and it's really disappointing when they don't show it. But I'm not saying the film is horrible because of that, but I'm saying not only is it like eye candy to us and you know, it's just fun to watch, not only is it that, but it would have benefited the film itself as well. Like it would have made the game, like the actual Hunger Games itself, it would have made it seem more, a lot more brutal, a lot more deadly. Like it would have been more impactful and effective on us, the audience, and it would have made us, like it would have helped us, you know, understand how visceral, like I'm not quite sure what word I'm trying to find here. Like it would have helped us, the audience, understand how deadly or how brutal these games can be. Like the brutality of the, like it would have made, like I just think the film would have benefited from it if it showed us the gore. I mean obviously Lionsgate, the distributors, wanted there to be a 12 or PG-13 in America, just so, you know, so then it's open to like a wider audience. Like this film is targeted towards teens anyway, I mean the books and everything. So I understand they want be able, you know, a wider audience so they make more money. Like they didn't want it to be an 18 or a 15, otherwise, you know, obviously this would limit the audience and they wouldn't make as much money. So I understand that from their point of view, but like from the film's point of view, it just didn't benefit the film. It benefited the distributors, sure. Like they obviously they're earning a hell of a lot more money than they would have if it was a 15 or an 18. So yeah, sure, it benefited them, but it didn't benefit the film itself. Is what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm just really disappointed, and the shaky camera was really annoying as well. So whenever someone's getting cut up or, you know, ripped apart and whatnot, the camera's just like shaking all over the place and you don't see nothing. And like even like, sure, okay, you're not going to show this gore, okay, but at least don't do the shaky camera. The shaky camera, it's just really frustrating. You never tell what's going on in the fight scenes. Like that's one thing, like, which was awesome about Battle Royale. Like the fight scenes were entertaining to watch. They were great, and all of the shootouts and everything, they were great. But in a lot of the fight scenes, you couldn't tell what the hell was going on, and it's just really frustrating to watch, I thought. Like in Battle Royale, like you know, they weren't scared to show the gore and anything like that. So, you know, you get to see the teenagers killing each other and stuff, like slitting each other's throats and the collars exploding and stuff. But in this film, obviously, you don't see it. So they resort to using the shaky camera gimmick, so you don't get to see any of the you know, mutilations or anything like that. So as a result, you can't tell what the hell's going on a lot of the time in the fights. Like you can kind of tell what's going on, but it's really annoying. It is still kind of difficult to tell what the hell's going on. Whereas with Battle Royale, you know, they just had like a normal style of directing, so you could tell what was going on, and which is obviously a lot more effective. I mean, if you can't tell what the hell's going on, clearly the film's doing something bad if you can't tell what's going on. It's like Quantum of Solace. That was horrible, the shaky camera in that film. I really hated Quantum of Solace purely because of that reason. Well, not purely because of that reason. I did like the Quantum of Solace actually, but the shaky camera was really annoying. And the same goes for this film. I hated the shaky camera. And the lack of gore didn't help the film. I just think the film, like, you would have understood how brutal the games are if they did show us some, you know, some blood. Like it would have benefited to the film if us as the audience would realize how brutal these games are, and it would just be more effective and impactful. I feel the same way about the Joker in The Dark Knight when he's slicing open people's faces with his knife. Like they never showed any of that in The Dark Knight, and I think the film would have benefited so much more if they did show us. But of course they want it to be a lower rating so they can earn more money, of course. Okay, so like I said, I haven't read all of the book, but it seems to be a pretty faithful adaptation of the books. This film seems to be a pretty faithful adaptation, so the fans of the book should be pleased. I read in a lot of reviews that, you know, from people who have read the whole entire book, that yes, it is pretty you know, pretty truthful to the source material. Like the stuff like the beehive and yeah, just stuff like the beehive, and like it's pretty much scene by scene, pretty much. Obviously they cut down a lot of stuff for like time reasons. I mean, this is like a 2.5 hour long film, so I do understand why they're cutting out stuff. Obviously, like characters, I can't say it. Okay, but yeah, I do understand why they like cut out a lot of stuff, and I'm okay with that. Like I think they got the message across pretty well from what I've read of the book. Like I've only read like the first half of the book, but yeah, great stuff. Like they're pretty truthful to the source material basically, so the fans of the book should be pleased. And yeah, like they left out some cool stuff, like the eyes of the victims being used on the creatures at the end there, like stuff like that. I didn't really care. Like I only found that out later when I read some reviews online, and some people was like mentioning stuff like that they left out stuff like that. Like I haven't read all of the book, like I said, so I wouldn't have known unless I looked at some reviews. But yeah, it is pretty faithful to the source material basically. Yeah. Okay, so the character, one bit of acting maybe I didn't like was how some of them, they just like they wrote the characters to be evil for the sake of being evil. I think, I don't know. I'm not sure if I bought that, and I thought that the actors tried too hard to be evil. Like some of the girls, for example, when they kill like this. A group of people basically team up to kill off the competition, and they come across this pretty young girl on her own and gang up on her and kill her, off screen of course. So they kill her, and then like when they're walking away, they're saying stuff like, "Oh, the hero, she was begging for her life." That was funny, right? And I was just like, you know, I was just rolling my eyes. It just seemed so forced. Like when they said something like, "Oh, did you hear the way she begged for her life?" That was so funny. I was just like I just did not buy that for a second. Like sure, there are people like that who would act like that, I'm sure, but the actors just didn't do a good job. They just felt like they were trying too hard to be evil. I just didn't buy it. I was just rolling my eyes at how just how forced they felt when they said that. I just thought that was a really bad line, and I was just like, it wasn't shocking or anything like that. It was just really, it just felt forced to me. Like I'm aware, like I'm sure there's like tons of people out there who would react like that, of course, in real life, but I'm just saying the actors didn't do a good job. Like the way they said it, the tone of voice, it just felt like they were trying too hard. Okay, so that's basically all I have to say about the film, I think. And like I was kind of surprised by how not as interesting the second half of the film was as the first half. The build up is so much better than the actual game itself. But I did like the film. Battle Royale is far, far, far superior. That film is way, you know, a hell of a lot better than this. But it's good. If you're a fan of the books, you should enjoy it. And I did like the film, but the shaky camera, the lack of blood and stuff, it just didn't make it didn't help the film whatsoever. You know, some of the characters, the way it just felt like they were trying too hard to be evil. They were trying too hard to be shocking with what the characters were saying. I was just rolling my eyes, just like, whatever. I was just like, that just kind of pissed me off. It just didn't work for me. Like in the book, they didn't actually say that. Like that whole part of them, like showed people forming an alliance, like a group gang up on other people, but they didn't show that girl getting killed. They didn't mention that in the book. They showed it in the film, so the book was so much better in that part because they didn't show it. They didn't like mention it happening in the book, but which led to the group of characters not like bragging about killing her, which just felt really lame. And I will say the sense of like when the game starts, because everyone starts off like standing right next to each other, so like everyone's just like a bunch of people just start fighting each other, strangling each other, hacking each other up. The sense of kind of chaos in that scene I thought was really good. Like it was really chaotic. Like the book was so much better. Again, like it just felt a lot better in the book. And of course in the film they didn't like show any of the killings or anything like that. But the film still did a good job of making the start of the game seem really chaotic when everyone's like fighting each other because everyone starts off next to each other. But yeah, so I liked it. It was great acting. The lack of blood was really just didn't help the film. The shaky camera didn't help the film either. It's really annoying. Like they could have done a better, like just use a normal style of directing to hide the gore if you want to target it, you know, have teens still be able to watch it, like, you know, stuff like that. But you could have just had like, well, like just not show it, just cut away when someone's about to die. You don't need the shaky camera stuff to ruin, like, you know, to hide the gore. It's just annoying. Okay. So the first half so much better than the second half. The second half was kind of really lackluster for numerous reasons, and it just wasn't as awesome as you would think it would be. Like when I was like, oh awesome, another film like Battle Royale, I can't wait to see this. Like Battle Royale was a really fun film to watch, and the scenario the characters are in, like the government forcing a group of people to kill each other, like that sort of scenario is used a few times throughout, you know, just films in general. And it's just like a fun thing to watch. So it was awesome. I was really excited to watch this film because I was like, okay, sure, it's a rip-off of Battle Royale. I know the author claims that she hasn't, or he, I think it's a she, I know the author claims she hasn't seen or read Battle Royale. but that's what she claimed. Maybe she's lying. I personally, I just don't care, whatever. I just don't care. I just wanted to see another film where like a group of people are forced to fight to the death, because that sort of scenario is fun to watch anyway. But this film, I don't think that it didn't do the scenario as nowhere near as well as Battle Royale did it. Battle Royale did it a lot more. Well, it was just a lot better. It was a lot more fun to watch in Battle Royale, and this just wasn't as interesting. However, the build up was really great, really awesome. Okay, so yeah, I did like the film. That's basically all I have to say. I'm gonna mention like a kind of minor spoiler of how one of the characters that died. It's not a main character; it's a side character. But I'm going to be talking about the death for like 5 minutes or so. So leave now if you don't want spoilers, but stick around if you want to hear what I have to say. Okay, so assuming you've left if you don't want spoilers, so I'm going to be talking about Rube's death, or Ruby, I can't remember her name. I'm going to call her Ruby. But you know, the short little black kid when she dies. I just don't think her, like they were, you know, they have the music and everything. They're trying to make her death to seem really emotional. I just didn't care about her. I just didn't care when she died. I was just like, whatever. I just don't care. And yeah, like so I just didn't care about her character. Like they have all the sad music playing and everything. They're trying to make it seem really emotional, but I just didn't care. Like the book, I haven't read up to the point where she dies in the book. Like I've read up to the point where they form an alliance and they're sharing food. That's what I've read up to. I haven't read anything else from that point. I'm assuming the book does a much better job of like showing their relationship and the bonds and stuff. But the film didn't do a good job of doing it, I don't think, so I just didn't care when she died. One thing I do think was really good though, like I actually felt bad for the district that she was with. I'm not sure what district she was, but basically when she dies, you know how they show the district that she was chosen from? They show her district's reaction. I thought that was done really well, where everyone starts rioting and like beating up the government guys, you know, the guards, whatever they're called. And like everyone starts like rioting because she's just been killed. I thought that was really well done. Like so I ended up caring more for like her district than I did about her. Like I didn't give a crap about her, but I cared about her district. Like I actually felt bad for the district. Like I felt bad that the district was feeling sorry for her. Like I felt bad because they felt sad, and you know, they're only feeling sad because she got killed, but I didn't really care about her. But I did like her district's reaction. I just thought that was done really well, and that was a great scene where everyone was rioting. That's basically all I have to say. Didn't really care for the romance story, but it was a fun film. Second half nowhere near as good as the first parts. Shaky camera sucked. Film would have benefited if you know, it actually showed the mutilations and deaths and injuries and whatnot. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. So I did like it. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching.